By 1000 BC, Babylon had established a lasting national state in the south. Meanwhile, the city of Ashur dominated a similar rival state, Assyria, in the north. Soon, the region's rulers, like its desert sands, would undergo a remarkable shift. Babylonia will compete for power against North Mesopotamia, home to the ancient world's fiercest fighting machine, the Assyrians.
The empires were getting bigger and bigger and more ruthless.
The Assyrians, a Semitic people, had inhabited North Mesopotamia for at least 4,000 years. By the 9th century BC, their conquests extended far beyond Ashur, the capital city and heartland of Assyria. From 885 to 860 BC, Assyrian king Ashurbanipal II was intensely focused on military matters.
He wants to build up the power of Assyria. It had previously, several hundred years earlier, had been a major power. And Ashurbanipal seems to have been determined to reinstate it as a major power. And the whole emphasis of the administration is on military matters.
Ashurnasirpal's campaign set a standard for the future warrior kings of Assyria, who were ruthless, determined empire builders.
The reliefs that are carved into the walls of the palaces of the Assyrian kings show siege engines ripping apart the walls of enemy cities. We see warships with battering rams on them. We see chariots. We see cavalry. We see infantry digging tunnels underneath the walls of the cities that they're besieging. The empires were getting bigger and bigger and more ruthless.
When Esarhaddon died in 669 BC, he left his eldest son, Ashurbanipal, a kingdom that stretched from Egypt to Persia. Ashurbanipal was one of Mesopotamia's most cultured rulers and claimed a unique skill.
He said, I, Ashurbanipal, who can read and write. And he wanted to have a collection of all the literary works in his kingdom. And he wanted it to be in his palace at Nineveh.
Ashurbanipal began sending agents to search out cuneiform tablets in the archives and schools of the Babylonian temples. His scribes then meticulously copied and cataloged some 20,000 of them before they were housed in what was the world's first library. Ashurbanipal was not only a scholar, but also a military leader. Under his command, the Assyrian Empire controlled the entire Near East, the greatest land area ever in Assyrian rule.
So for them, that was the universe, that was everything.
But after Ashurbanipal's death in 627 BC, new power brokers would deliver crushing blows to the Assyrian Empire.
These guys are forming a pincers attack on the Assyrian heartland.